Relationships can be hard, but not impossible to overcome. We like to set the table. When you think about dinner, you bring everything to the table. The flatware, the plates, the cups, napkins, the food. And during dinner, it sometimes gets messy. Plates get dirty, food gets spilled on the table. But at the end of it, normally what we like to say is clear the table. Whether it's a kinship, a friendship, a relationship, it's all a fellowship. This is the place to be transparent, to be honest, to be real, and to find hope and healing while discovering the truth. Welcome to the Clear Table.
Welcome. And I would like to welcome our guest, the author of this book, Bent But Not Broken, Bernice Lofties. When did you start to feel this type of way, and what caused that?
Losing my parents again, I would say. Being young at 9, you lose your father.
Mm-hmm.
And me being the youngest of 14 siblings. Wow. And yes, we all have the same mother and father. They was very busy. And so, but I'm the youngest of the 14.
Wow.
So growing up in the home with both parents there. And Dad taught us a lot, even though I was young, but at the same time, I got a chance to listen in and to watch how he molded our family. And then my trauma started when I lost my mom at 12, because now I'm at this place. Who's going to take care of me?
Yes.
So now I feel alone. I feel my first abandonment, because now I have siblings that has their own family.
Wow.
And so now here I am stuck with neither parent is present. So, it's just like, oh God, what am I going to do?
What's going to happen to me?
What's going to happen to me? Who's going to raise me? What do I get out of life? Who's going to take up the slack where a parent should be? So, and it made me feel unloved. So that's why I wanted to create the family that I could love. That if I had my own.
What's interesting is a lot of people say that they don't notice red flags, in these relationships. But you said something. You said you thought when you saw things come up, as long as this was a person that you thought, this could work, I could mold this into what I need it to be. So what were some of the things that you saw that you just decided to ignore because you wanted this family?
At some point in the relationship, I saw abuse that was there. I saw resentment, things that didn't line up with what I grew up with or what I was taught. But I believe that if I prayed, if I worked with you, if I cared for you, if I did for you, that things would come together. And it just went the opposite. Yeah. So
you're accepting.
Right.
You at a young age, you're accepting, because your main goal in your mind is to get to what you saw at 9 years old. And I keep saying 9 because that's when you still had both parents.
Right.
In your mind, no matter how broken or irregular this looks like or feels like, eventually it should look like that.
Right. And a lot of that derived from watching my mom, watching her, how she tended and how she cared for Dad. And that was, one thing I could say is that, we teach our children, to obey and to respect and love our mother and father. And I watch Mom, no matter what Dad did, whether it was good or bad, whether we agree or disagree, he still was right. And I found later on, it caused me to accept whatever, whether it was right or wrong. And a lot of times it may been wrong, and I still was acceptance to it. And that's why I accepted and felt that I could mold a person into be, or I could deal with it. Because
you had made this marriage, your parents' marriage, and that relationship an idol.
Right.
The dream that you've had since as a kid, of this family. That is now, it's gone.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
It was very disappointing. It was heartbroken. But I still was chasing my dream.
Yes.
I still wanted my family. I still wanted my children. I still wanted my
white
house.
picket fence.
I still wanted.
So you continue to date.
Well, I will say this. You say something that is very interesting. You say, I am the woman at the well. And you say that for a specific reason. And why do you say that?
I say that is because that's where Jesus found me. That's where I met Jesus. Like seriously, like, girl, this is who I am.
Yes.
You know, you are this lady at the well. She doesn't have her name, but you chased this family that you once had, that you admired, that you adored, that you made an idol of your parents, all the way up to multiple marriages came out of this. Because I longed for love. I was lonely. I was heartbroken.
Right.
I was just, I needed that fulfillment. And I just believed that I supposed to have that. Oh yeah, I was very defensive. I was on a defense. I had guards, walls, bricks, everything up that you couldn't get in to try to take away from me what I was longing for, which was my family.
But what happened? Because you said, you know, if you had little issues, little problems, I was willing to work with that in order to get this dream. But what happened when those small things became big things? Like you talked about experiencing abuse. Right. You know, what happened when you got to that point? It's like, do you feel like I'll make this work somehow? Or what did you do?
I will make it work somehow. So it's like close the blind. Yes, it was close the blind. No one, what goes on in this house stays in this house.
That's a big one. Yeah. That is a big one. That,
the black family.
Exactly.
That we have to get rid of that.
The black family and the Christian family.
Yes.
Yes. You needed to create this family that you had idolized as a child in your adult life. And so tell us a little bit about how those issues, the anger that you talked about, experiencing as a teenager, the abandonment issues, all those things that you were going through, how that really started to show up in your relationships, you know, with you, because we know that the other parties, they were at fault. They did some things, but what are some of the things that you now see in yourself that those traits were actually showing up in your relationships?
Well, my anger was, I would be quiet, but I was frowning all the time. And then if I did have something to say, it was quick and short, or it wasn't the right choice of words to use. My language changed drastically to where I wasn't speaking the loving, kind language anymore. It was like hammering it right on in, if you will.
You were speaking in another type of tongue.
Yes, I had another tongue language that was not pleasing to God.
It wasn't godly.
It wasn't godly. And I didn't have to, I looked at myself to where I was angry enough to want to fight, but I knew I wasn't big enough to fight, you know. But my mouth did it. So I spoke out words that it was just like I hit you. You know, I didn't need a gun.
Because people have to realize that, you know, in relationships, especially when you think about abuse and things like that, that your words can literally be a weapon.
They wasn't making me better. They was actually making me bitter.
That's key.
Yeah.
They wasn't making you better.
Right.
They were making you bitter.
Yes.
And with that bitterness, resentment had to set in.
Yes.
Talk about that.
I became resentful, not against marriage, because I still
wanted children. We already know that.
Yes. Yes. But it did have me in a place with people, with family, because I feel like that they knew you watching me struggle and you're not there to help pull me through. Right. It was
and
just
that's why I asked, you know, because you talked about when you were younger and this person came into your home and violated you.
Right.
And when you got the courage to tell, it was kind of like, oh, just stay away, just hide, no real action.
Right.
You know, and so now you're in these relationships, you're in these marriages, and people know what's going on. And so my question is, how did that make you feel? You know, and again, you're the baby of the family.
Right.
You know, and a lot of times when you're the youngest, you look for your big brothers and your big sisters to protect you because your parents are gone.
Right.
So how did that then make you feel? Did it remind you, you know, similar feelings to the way that you felt when you were brave enough to tell about your abuse as a child? Yeah.
Yes, it made me feel, I really felt that there was a part of me that they didn't love me. You know, I felt, I knew that they did, but I felt like they didn't. You know, the enemy came in and began to start talking to me, playing with my mind. Oh, you're out here by yourself. You're going to have to do this by yourself. That's what my fight come in, you know, to be ambitious and still have this dream of my family.
And you got to think about it. That's the same thought you had at 14.
Exactly.
And that monster kept coming up no matter what.
No matter what.
Every time you told somebody something or they saw something bad, that thought of, I'm by myself.
You said earlier, I wanted a marriage where we went to church together. I wanted a spiritual marriage. That was a desire that you had. Did you ever stop between each marriage or before each marriage to say, God, what do you think? What do you say about this?
No, I never asked God, what did he say? I saw you going to church because, you know, when they start out going to church, we good. You pray with me. We're okay. Now we reading the word. Oh, wow. You know, because they was teaching me the word, you know, and, to understand the scriptures and all, you know, the whole time. I'm like, oh, wow. But okay, you got a hiccup. You got a error in your life. You got
the red flag.
Yeah, the red flag. So
it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Because they're in the word.
Exactly, because they're in the word. They know more than I do. Yeah. You know, we all have faults. You know, we all sin and fall short of the glory. So now you just passing the buck. You just keep, you know, just allowing. And instead of just dealing with it face to face, you know, at hand, you just kind of sweep it under the rug. And you still accepting this. And, you know,
so you're praying and not changing.
Exactly.
And a child can see you. If that's not God.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're looking for an answer. And so many people don't listen to their children. Because what do we say? Stay in a child's place.
Right.
That's
Be
what we do. And not heard.
Exactly.
And so I believe we need some children that can see this to be brave enough to at least go to their parent and say what your 14-year-old said in a respectful way.
He did. And then, but sometimes he just, you know, like now he just go ahead and tell me, Mama.
Well, he ain't 14 no more.
Exactly. He's 30 now. So he's like, okay, Mom, now
said
wait
when I was a child, I spoke as a child.
Exactly. But it was a eye-opening for me, for him to say that. And then I began to start thinking, just start asking myself those hard questions. Why are you doing this? Why are you taking this? Why are you, they're not providing, you have to go to work. You're working 2-3 jobs, all of these things. And plus I took his childhood as well. Yes. Because now he had to take care of his younger sister while you were working. Exactly.
It also made you aware of just how much he knew and how it affected him when he's coming to you saying, why are you doing this? People tell you, pray about it.
Right.
And so you had this dream, you're in this marriage where, you desired this godly marriage. And so now you're in the marriage, you have the husband who starts off, you're praying together, you're reading the scriptures, you talk about how this person even would encourage you, and tell you God has great work for you to do and would encourage you to grow.
Yes.
And so you're in that marriage. You're praying together. You're going to church. You're doing these things. And then you start to see the red flags and all of this.
Right.
How do you, come to that realization, even with your daughter telling you, even with counseling, those things where you've prayed for this godly marriage and you're like, I'm almost there. I have it. I have the godly, husband. He's encouraging me to grow. And now, the church is that to death do us part. And you're like, now I'm contemplating divorce again with the godly husband that I've prayed for. How do you really get to that point? Even your daughter's telling you have these thoughts yourself. How do you really break away from that?
I had to go to God in my own personal secret closet. And I asked God over and over. I mean, I went broken as a little child. And I heard him loud and clear. He said, you're not doing me any favor by staying. I'm going to love you.
Someone needs to hear that.
The Lord said to me, plain, clear as a bell. I could hear it loud and clear. He said, you're not doing me any favors by staying here. I will be with you if you go or if you stay.
Wow.
Yes. You have to make that decision.
The choice. We have to go. Bernice, this was a pleasure. Can you tell our viewers how to get this book, Bent But Not Broken?
You can find Bent But Not Broken on Amazon. We have a Christian bookstore in Bolivar, Tennessee. So you can go on our website to the Upper Room Christian bookstore to obtain the book.
Order it online?
Yes. Or you can also visit my website, which is bhloftiesministries.com.
Well, thank you again. This was great. And I hope and pray that if anybody out there that watched this episode are going through any of the things that Bernice talks about today or in the book, know that you too can be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yes.
But the question is, when are you going to first seek ye first that Christ mind? You have to ask God, as she said, what, when, and where would you have me to be? Not where I want to be. Quit chasing what you thought and seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. God bless you and forever have a smile upon you.
Until next time on The Clear Table.